live. There you go.
All
I
right.
think you're ready in 5 seconds there. Yep,
All
we're
right.
ready.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody that's tuning in via Facebook and YouTube. This is High School Football Final, the number one high school football prep show on YouTube and Facebook. This is your host, Charles Jackson of Jackson Sports Media, along with my panel of guests, Robert Mack of Williston Sports Station and Hunter Williams of 719 Sports. How you doing on this wonderful Thanksgiving Eve, fellas?
Doing
Doing
great,
good.
man. Appreciate you.
Well, we are in the final four for regional for this upcoming Friday, and we're also in the state regional championship. I believe this upcoming Friday for a lot of the other classifications. We we really should want to get all this stuff in very packed. So we got Thanksgiving coming up for a lot of the families, and we don't want to be here all night talking about football, but we do want to break down all the big time games for this upcoming weekend from classes 7A all the way down to the Rural B classification playoff series. So, guys, how do you feel about the playoffs so far? All the classifications.
Hunter, you go first, man. I got a lot of thoughts.
I think that there are a couple upsets this past week that kind of surprised me, but for the most part, I think the teams at the top were pretty much the teams that we kind of figured would be there at this stage. I'm still kind of, I guess you're trying to wait to see like if there's any surprises this week that might shake things up, but overall, I think the playoffs are going about how we expected.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty much something like you said, a couple of majors. There's been a couple major upsets in the bigger classifications. But so far, our favorites that we know is gonna make it to Pitbull Stadium in South Florida looks like they're locked in. A couple of local school seasons had ended, unfortunately, this past weekend. One of my picks to make it to this round actually lost this past Friday, so we'll break those
Which
games
one?
down.
Which one was that?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. I just know one of my picks, but my rule picks for the Rule B, all them passed. So I think I had a perfect record
Nice,
in the Rule B. So, but let's go ahead and get
nice.
to it. We're gonna start in 7A and work our way down. Uh, so let me see what 7A. So here we go. So Lake Mary of the one seed in Region 1 knocks off Spruce Creek 52-32, and the University of Orlando upsets the two-seed Seminole 24-20 to advance to the regional championship. Take on Lake Mary. Region 2, defending champion Venice takes care of Newsom 52-17. They will take on West Orange, 3 seed, in this regional championship for Region 2, and they take care of Plant City 26-25. Palm Beach Central, the 1 seed in Region 1, upset it by Vero Beach 21-20. They will travel to take on Dr. Phillips, who blanket Jupiter 35-0. In Region 4, state runner-up. Actually, the Columbus win it last year, or the Venice win state championship last year? It was the Columbus Explorers won it last year, right?
Here, let's look it up.
I really think it was. I think it was Columbus, right? Let me see.
2023.
Seven
Yeah,
A
I think
championship.
It was
Columbus did win last year.
Okay, Venice was runner-up. I got it mixed up. Okay, so Columbus and Van.
Yeah,
Explorers, and it was 4M last year.
Okay, I
Yeah,
got it
because
mixed up.
Columbus ended up beating Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Correct.
So Venice was what? Venice was state runner-up last year.
Yeah, to Lakeland.
Okay, so they moved up the classification. Okay, bet. So Lakeland was a runner at 6A last year, I believe, and they advanced. But Columbus took care of Michigan South Dane 20-7. Boca Raton gets shut out, the 3 seed, pretty badly by Western 42-0. So Western will travel to Columbus for the regional championship. So already a couple upsets already in the Class 7A playoff series. Let's move to 6A. Region 1, Nice knocks off. Actually, Nice was upsetting, right? No.
Yep. Oakley.
Yeah, Oakley beat them.
Oakley, who moves over to advance to the regional final, they would take on Buchholz. So they would travel to Gainesville to take on the Bobcats. And that game was a lot closer than people expected. At one point in the fourth quarter, they was deadlocked until Buchholz scored 10 unanswered to win the game by 10 late.
Yes,
Hunter,
sir.
how do you feel about this matchup between Buchholz and Oakleaf?
You're talking about obviously like Beholtz is probably the better team, and I think they probably lucked out a little bit. The fact that they're going to get a home playoff game instead of having to go back to Nice. But Oakleaf, they've been pretty dangerous the last 2 weeks. I wouldn't count them out heading into this game. But you still got to lean Buchholz here at home.
Yeah, I think Buchholz going to make it back to the state semis. I think, but Oakleaf could get a run for their money here in Gainesville this upcoming Friday. They would take on the winner of Armwood versus Osceola out of Kissimmee, as both teams take care of business in their regional semis. Region 2, West Boca Raton takes care of Mitchell out of Newport Richie. And then Wiregrass Ranch takes care of the 17 in Largo. So it'll be West Boca Raton hosting Wiregrass Ranch in Region 3. Region 4, South Ridge out of Miami takes care of Monarch by 6. And West Broward takes care of Piper out of Sunrise. So it'll be South Ridge versus West Broward in the regional championship for Region 4. Class 4A, 5A. The Region 1 semifinal, Niceville survives an upset bid by the Ponte Sharks, 21-0. They will have a showdown against the third-seeded Lincoln Trojans out of Tallahassee. The Eagles surviving a scare. Hunter, how do you feel about that one down there in Niceville? How did the Eagles survive a scare by the Sharks?
Yeah, from that game was extremely close down to the wire. Niceville got a very tight win there. It's tough to beat Niceville, but I believe Lincoln and Niceville, I believe they played each other this year.
And I believe Niceville got the best of the Trojans earlier this year. I believe so.
I don't know if Niceville is good enough to beat them twice. I got to lean Lincoln there.
It's hard to beat a team twice, especially a team you're familiarized with. Now, I was wrong about the Gadsden County Florida High game. That was a beatdown. But in this aspect, the way Niceville played against a very hungry Ponte team, a team that almost beat Buchholz last year. Remember last year, Ponte gave Buchholz a run for their money last year. Y'all remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
And then they eventually went on to lose a heartbreaker to Lincoln in the state semis. So Ponte Vedra is going to give everything they played in the playoffs a run for their money. So hats off to the Sharks. Unfortunately, they fall short of the state regional championship. But I got Lincoln up to the Niceville this Friday over there in Niceville, 23-20. I got Trojans advancing to the state semis.
Okay. I like it. Yeah. I mean, coming from somebody who knows firsthand experience, it's hard for a team to win twice. That rematch a lot of times goes to the person who or goes to the team that lost it the first time. So Lincoln's going to give them everything they can handle.
So we go to Region 2. The defending state champion of Lakeland Dreadnoughts take care of Gaither 41-13. Sets up another upset bid. This time in Region 3, the third seed, Tampa Bay Tech, knocks out the second seed, Edgewater out of Orlando, 28-17. So it'll be Tampa Bay Tech and Lakeland in the Region 2 state championship, Region 2 region final. Regional 3, Manatee knocks off of Mockley pretty bad, 54-8. They sets up a showdown against third seed Riverdale out of Tampa. They went 18-14 with Fort Myers. So Manatee versus Riverdale, the Region 3 final. For the Regional 4 final, it'll be Atlantic advancing, beating Miramar by 6. They'll take on St. Thomas Aquinas, who destroys Blanche Eating by 21. Does St. Thomas have enough firepower to advance to the state semis? Hunter, do you think St. Thomas Aquinas have enough to upset Atlantic?
I don't think that's an upset, to be honest. But I will point out that Ely was up on Aquinas at the half, and then they went to the second half. Aquinas just barreled through them. But the thing is, when you look at Aquinas, if you look at the teams they've lost to, who have they lost to that wasn't like a top 10 level team in all of Florida? I don't
Right.
know if Atlantic is at that level. I'm thinking not only I think Aquinas beats Atlantic here, I think they win 5A overall.
Oh wow! So you got Atlantic getting destroyed by St. Thomas Queens en route to a state semi appearance.
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know about
when you look at
destroyed, but
who
I
they've
think it'll be
lost,
pretty decisive.
What do you think, Robert?
I was gonna say when you look at who they've lost to this year, I mean, it's like a who's who of top 10 overall teams in Florida, and Bishop Gorman, Hollywood Chaminade Madonna, and American Heritage. So I think the level of competition is there. I mean, uh, just to say that, heck, I could Atlantic keep them from scoring 50 like they have the first two rounds of the playoffs would be a better question.
And like I said, it's going to be very tough to for. I feel like St. Thomas Quay was highly underseeded for this region because I feel like St. Thomas could be a one seed every year in their region, but we could be all day talking about how teams were highly underseeded because look at Newberry versus Bradford. Newberry looked like a two seed over Bradford, and that one last Friday. We'll take that one a little bit, but Niceville, Lincoln, Lakeland, Tempe Tech, Manatee, and Riverdale, and Atlantic, and St. Thomas will be in their state their region championship series from 5A. 4A, St. Augustine, trying to get back to the state championship again for the second straight year. They hosted Ed White, and the Commanders fall down to the Yellow Jackets by 24. Escambia falls short to Choctawhatchee. So Choctawhatchee got to make a long travel across Central Florida to St. Augustine for a matchup against the Yellow Jackets for the Regional 1 final. For the Region 2 final, Lake Wales and Ocala Vanguard, a game that we talked highly of last week. And we all agree that Ocala Vanguard here to finally end the losing streak to Lake Wales. And congratulations to the Vanguard Knights for finally ending the losing streak to the Lake Wales. They win 30-23. They will travel to take on Orlando Jones in the regional final as they take care of Zephyr Hills 41-18. Hunter, does the Vanguard Knights have enough to upset the Jones Tigers?
No.
But no.
I will say that I was wrong about them. I was wrong last week about the fact that because I did take Lake Wales to pull out a tie win on Vanguard. Much credit to Vanguard on knocking off Lake Wales, but they're on this time. They're going on the road to a much better team in Jones. I just don't see it. I think that you're looking at a team that should potentially play in a state title game in a few weeks with Jones. Because outside of AHP, they are the best team in that class.
That is, Robert, what are your thoughts on kind of Vanguard big matchup against Jones this Friday for the Regional 2 final?
Well, first of all, you kind of got to give credit to the seeding. It's been almost all chalk in 4A because you got four 1 versus 2 matchups in the regional finals. But I think this is the opportunity for Vanguard to put itself into that next level of competition, right? Because Jones is widely considered a top 25 team in the state of Florida
Oh,
overall,
yeah.
right? And if like me and you were talking about earlier today, it's like Ric Flair says, you want to be the man, you got to
You
beat
gotta
the
beat
man,
the man. Come on
right?
now.
So if you want to be on that next level of competition, it's time for you to go into Orlando and prove you belong. So I think Ocala Vanguard's going to do it this Friday night, and they're going to prove they belong in that conversation of the top 25 in the entire state. So I got Vanguard.
I'm going with the Knights. I think Vanguard go shock the world and make it back to the second straight year in the state semis. I got to win a close one, 28-24 over Orlando Jones to have the right to face the winner of St. Augustine and Choctawhatchee in the state semis. I know you're going for Jones. I know you said the Cinderella story ends for Vanguard, but what a season for Vanguard. They're like an 11-game win streak since their week 1 loss to Buchholz. I mean, they're probably one of the hottest teams in the state, but they got a tough pill to climb as they finally get over one hurdle in Lake Wales. They're going to go through a bigger one in the Class for a 1 seed of Region 2, the Orlando Jones Tigers. Big game, though, for both schools. I think it's going to be a close one. I think Vanguard's momentum and trying to be the underdog, get back to the state semis for the second straight year is going to be the difference. And I think Jones might overlook Vanguard this one. When you play the big playoff games such like this, you kind of look at a team that you know you're supposed to beat, and you underlook them. And you see like a lot of schools get upset at this past weekend, Hunter. You see a lot of schools that you know, and you look at the rule, all the games were upsets. Every last one of them were upsets by the road team. So we have a team that you know you can beat, but you overlook them, you get blind shot, you get rough shot. Like you look at, you had a 7 seed advance to the state regional semis in 6A. So you can't overlook your opponent. So they just got to take care of business against Vanguard. Vanguard gonna come in hungry and desperate to get back to where they're supposed to be at. But I think the hunger of Vanguard is going to be the difference in a very close game, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes down in Orlando on Friday night. The Region 3 final will be Port Charlotte, the 1 seed, hosting Naples as they both take care of business. The 6 seed in St. Petersburg got shut out 33-0 by Naples, and Port Charlotte by 14 over Jesuit. Region 4 championship will be decided between American Heritage and Miami Norland. Hunter, what is your thoughts between Norland and Heritage for the Regional 4 championship?
Well, this is a district championship rematch from earlier in the year. Norland was able to pull out a very tight win the first time around, but as we've been talking about for all these weeks of the playoffs, how hard is it to beat a team twice?
Right.
And when you look at someone as good as American Heritage, how are you going to beat that team twice? Especially when you barely beat them the first time. When I look at American Heritage, I'm looking at the team that's probably going to win 5A right here. I like them in a close game over Norland to get the rematch. No, I got AHP to beating Norland.
Oh, you got Heritage beating Norland?
No, AHP. Yeah,
Okay,
AHP beating Norland.
All right, what about you, Robert?
Well, again, it's coming back to this whole beating somebody twice, right? I mean, because when it boils down to it, like what are you gonna do and everything, right? But you got two very, very good teams, both considered very good teams overall in the state of Florida, and it's a shame that this has to be a regional final. But I'm going with the home team this time around, and I'm thinking it's going to be close. It's going to be something that American Heritage is probably going to pull like a 31-28 sort of game. Right, it's going to be something that I think you match them up on a neutral field, and odds makers would make it even. Right, in this case, you got to give the 3 extra points to the home team.
When we look at it right now, according to Mack Preps, New Orleans is the 8th best team in Florida, and Mary Harris the 9th best team. So there's a top 10 matchup in the regional final right there. The Mary Harris will be the home team for this matchup, and it's so
I think it's 8th to 9th. That's that
they're right
close.
next to each
God,
other.
man.
Because St. Thomas Aquinas number 7, and then you got Gadsden County top 5 in the state, in the state of Florida, entire state of Florida. So kudos to them for an excellent season from the Jaguars at a little old Havana, the top 5 team in the state of Florida. Good job for them. But as we were saying between Norland and American Heritage, it's going to be like throwing a needle in a haystack. It's so hard to pick between both schools. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be 35-38. And I'm going to lean towards a bit Miami Norland because I'm a Miami guy from Miami. So I'm going to give Norland the benefit of the doubt with an upset win on the road against American Heritage to win the Regional 4 championship to advance to the state semis. And I forgot, Miami Central had to kiss all these wins. So I'm looking at Max Press. They're 0-9. I'm looking at top 10. They're 0-9. It's a shame for what they did this year. But we're going to go on and reach Class 3A. If we get close to rule, and pretty much it's been pretty balanced. Northwestern taking care of the trash in Lely, 64-12. They will advance to take on Cypress Lake, upset win over Key West. Looks like it's going to be another victim for Teddy Bridgewater's crew. I got Northwestern, like I said, winning the state championship for 3A. They have been the most dominant team in 3A so far in the entire playoffs. They're gonna put by 60 more on Cypress Lake on Friday night. Jefferson and Tampa upset. You got an upset this time in 3A Region 3. They got shut out 42-0 by Boca Ciega, the 5 seed. Boca Ciega will travel to take on Booker out of Sarasota for the right to advance in the state semis. Hunter, did you see Jefferson and Tampa get it? Not only get shut out, but embarrassed at home by Boca Ciega?
Honestly, I didn't, but I think that kind of tells you a lot about 3A as a class because when you look at that region compared to like a team like Reigns and whatever in Region 1, then you have Miami Northwestern in Region 4, it's like, how is it that there's going to be one of these two teams in the Final Four and yet they're going to be in the same one of them? Like, if Northwestern and Reigns have to play each other in the state semifinals, it's a travesty because those are the two best teams by a pretty significant margin, I would guess.
Oh yeah, not even close. I feel like those two will have to see each other state champion. You cannot reshuffle have to play each other because that will be the state championship game, in my opinion, in the state semis. So I think 3A is probably the weakest when it comes to talent. Because I think 3A, like we agree, Hunter, they're both top heavy. Because you got Rays, you got Northwestern, and everybody else in front of them. So it feels like right now, Rays and Northwestern, like they're the front runners for the state title. I don't see nobody in 3A could compete with it right now because, of course, you got Rays versus Bishop Kenny, but that's gonna be a beatdown. Euclid, and unfortunately, another time the season ends on this past Friday. They got beat 38-15 by the hands of Bishop Moore. So with Bishop Moore traveling to Euclid for the Regional 2 championship, and they got Boca Ciega and Booker. Right now, Northwestern and Rays like the best teams left in 3A, and maybe a distant second will probably be either Euclid or Bishop Moore.
Yeah, I forgot about Uigali being in that class, but I'd say they're probably not that far behind Reigns, but when I look at obviously like that, you have Uigali, Reigns, and Miami Northwestern, and then you have Booker and Boca Ciega potentially going to the Final Four. Like it's clear, like that region sticks out like a sore thumb compared to the potential top team in the other three.
I really feel like if maybe it can be Ugali versus Rays, and maybe the winner of Boca Ciega be a scrimmage game against Northwestern because whoever Northwestern going to face, either Boca Ciega or Booker, going to be a big time blowout. So it looked like Teddy Bridgewater was way to be one of the first few coaches in Center Florida history to win a state championship as a rookie. So let's see how that goes for him going further down, especially this Friday as they take on Cypress Lake at home. Region, now we're going to class. We already said the rest of Region 3, 2, and 1. So now we're going to class 2A. Now 2A is probably more interesting outside of 1A and rule. So let's see how this goes for class 2A. Region 4, you got Booker T shutting out Carter Gibbons 47-0. They will host Immaculata LaSalle, and they take care of Monsignor Pace 20-14. You got Carter Mooney take care of Kings Academy by 28. They will host Bishop Variant in the Region 3 championship. Region 2, this is the game I want to talk about, fellas. Coco Newberry. Does the Panthers have a chance to upset the Tigers to advance to the state semis? I'm going to start with Robert on this one. Robert, can Newberry, and you saw them up and close personal against Williston, do that front have a chance against that high-powered Coco offense?
Their defensive front evens out the game with anybody they take the field with, right? Right now, when you take a look at who Newberry's actually lost to this year, right? They ran into the buzzsaw that was Vanguard after Vanguard's initial loss, right? And they lost to Hawthorne in OT in week 2. But since then, they've beaten Bradford twice. They put Fort White 44-10. They beat Palatka in the playoffs, and they beat Palatka the second time, right? So let's talk about Newberry doing the thing that nobody else in the state has seemingly figured out how to do, and that's beat people twice this year. And they've done it twice, right? Where they've beaten
Right.
Palatka twice and they've beaten Bradford twice. I think if they can figure that out, they can figure out how to beat Cocoa and travel across the state and put themselves on the map, because we ended up being right about the fact that last week they were going to go into Stark and they were going to come out with a win, and they were going to come out with probably at least 2 touchdowns, right? Because then it ended up
Yeah.
being a 34-19 victory, and I like it to keep on going, and I think they're going to figure it out and they're going to make it happen.
Hunter, what's your thoughts between Cocoa and Newberry? Do the Panthers have a chance to pull off the upset of the playoffs?
I will say that I was the one that went and rushed in last week and said that Newberry was going to beat Bradford, and because they were going to prove that the first one was no fluke. But
Mm-hmm.
my opinion about them against Cocoa hasn't changed, and my opinion of Cocoa heading into the playoffs and throughout has not changed. Cocoa is going to be the eventual state champions. When I look at this, I think that Newberry might be able to keep it close for like a half or so. I think that in the end, though, Cocoa is just too much, especially at home. I'm going to say Cocoa probably pulls ahead by like a 14 to 17 point range.
Okay. I've been real good with these upset picks, guys. I've been really good with upsets this playoffs, guys. But this was gonna be uphill climb for the Panthers. Going to Cocoa, going to South Florida, and we all know the Newberry fan base gonna travel. They're one of the better supporting fan base in the area that's gonna travel, like a Williston, like a Fort White, like a Union County, like a Hawthorne. They're all gonna travel. These smalls gonna travel wherever they are gonna be in the playoffs. So Newberry come with some firepower, some noise. I hate to say this, and I hate all the Newberry fans that follow my chip gonna be upset, but I feel like the Panthers gonna fall. Gut feeling, I said the Panthers gonna lose, but my heart wants them to win. I really want them to win. You know what? Bump it. I'm gonna go Newberry wins. I hate to say this. I hope I'm not wrong. Newberry, please put me out of a liar. Put me right, man. Newberry wins 34-27. Write that down,
Okay.
Robert. Newberry wins 34-27. I looks like I'm wrong, but I want Newberry to prove me right. I got Newberry with the upset. I've been so good on a hot streak with these upsets in the playoffs. I'm going for the major upset. I got Newberry upset and Cocoa to end their 2-year reign as state champions. Now, are they going to win state
All right.
championship? I don't think so. But if Newberry does pull off the upset, Newberry could be a big factor for a state championship, because the only other team that we said that was in Cocoa's way was either Gaston County and Booker T, right, Hunter?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because Gaston will host Bowls in a very big game in Region 1. Do you think the Bulldogs have a chance of upsetting the Jags? I don't think so. I think Gaston County going to roll over Bowls, in my opinion.
I got a chance to see Bulls early this year. My opinion of them was that they're really good running it. Like they have a really good run game, but so does Gatson. I just don't think Bulls is strong enough defensively as they've been in the past, and I feel like that's going to make the difference for Gatson in their win over Bulls.
All right, so now we're going to advance into Class 1A. And this classification has some very unique state rural championship games. Start off in Region 4, Chaminade Banana, the defending state champions. They shut out St. Andrews 70-0. They will host Miami Edison, who survived who upset a true classical at Miami 47-39. Carter Newman, a team that you watched personally, Hunter, they shut out Community School there 42-0. They will take on First Baptist in a Regional 3 championship. Region 2 championship will be Clearwater Central Catholic. They shut out Carrollwood Day 45-0. They will host Lakeland Christian in the Region 2 championship. And in a Duval County battle, as University Christian upsets Providence 24-21, they will travel to Trinity Christian as they take care of McLean 28-21. Who you got win between University Christian and Trinity Christian? This is the second time they face each other this year. And I'm going to start off with Hunter.
Well, before we get to that, I was going to say that I still feel confident with all four of the teams that I expected to be in the Final Four for 1A. Chaminade, they're going to, Luther Campbell, but Edison's not beating Chaminade. So that's going to be Chaminade going to the Final Four. Newman winning their region. I feel Catholic winning their region. And I picked Trinity to win Region 1 before the playoffs started, and I'm sticking with it. I think Trinity gets the win here in their second matchup with UC.
Robert, what do you think? You think University Christian could off the upset, or you think Trinity Christian will continue to sail to the state championship Final Four?
I still think it's Trinity Christian coming out of this one. Like Hunter had said, I had picked them coming out of this one beforehand. I'm going to stick with it now. I hadn't seen anything that's changed my mind about it. The one thing I was kind of surprised was that first round exit from Trinity Catholic, because I had picked them to do the upset over Providence after they had made the run last year. But I guess that was it for Coach Brantley then, huh?
Yeah, that was a straw that broke the camel's back. Unfortunately, he officially retired. Quote unquote stepped down after the loss to in the first round. So we finally get to the meat and potatoes of the whole show. Royal classification. State championship Final Four. Before we get into the championship bracket, let's get to this invitational bracket. Now listen, guys. Every game I called last week, I was spot on. From Baker losing to Trenton, from Jefferson County losing to Dixie, from Port St. Joe losing to Wildwood, and from Fort Meade beating Franklin County. So I'm 4-0 last week. I feel pretty good. Now,
Well, who
can
you got
Trenton
this week then?
upset Dixie in the state semis?
See, I picked against Trenton last week, and I'm picking against them again. I think it's Dixie County. So,
what are your thoughts? Trenton versus Dixie, 8 versus 5 matchup for the right to go to the villages. You're gonna stay. We're gonna go Dixie County, Robert.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm still picking against Trenton.
Hunter, Dixie County, Trenton for the right to go to the villages. Who you got? And I know it's eating you inside to make this pick.
Screw it. Give me Trenton.
Hey, man, I'm an underdog man. I'm going with the Tigers once again. Once the Tiger, always the Tiger. I'm going with Tigers 20-13 over Dixie. I think Dixie's defense is going to keep this game a lot less high than it was last between Baker and Trenton. Because that game was a little too high scoring like I thought it would be. But I think 2013 Trenton upsets Dixie to keep their Cinderella run all the way to the villages. Next, they will face the winner of 7-seeded Wildwood versus 6-seeded Fort Meade. Hunter, Fort Meade or Wildwood to go to the villages. Who you got?
Well, I went against Wildwood last week, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to take Wildwood here.
Wildwood? Fort Meade or Wildwood, Robert, for the right to advance to the championship in the villages.
You know, Wildwood's gone on the road against Port St. Joe. I don't think they're going to have a problem going on the road again. So give me Wildwood.
I want the Wildcats in this one as well. This will be a less closer drive for Wildwood in their case they do go to the villages. That's like a 20-minute drive from their campus, I believe. Not even 20 minutes.
not maybe 25. The traffic down there right now with all the snowbirds coming in is bad.
Yeah, but still, less than a 30-minute drive to your state championship location, not a bad given. So I'm going Wildwood versus Trenton, and I got Trenton winning the championship. That's my
I think the
prediction now.
ironic thing is
Wildwood,
the fact that Wildwood will have driven more for every single playoff game than they will for the state final.
yeah. Trenton got the longest drive to the village, while the Wildwood team has like a less than a 30-minute drive. So I got Trenton winning the whole thing from here on out. I got Trenton winning the whole thing. Unless Trenton loses this county. And then I'm going to change my pick. And now the coup de grace, the Final Four for the 2024 Rural State Championship Series. And we're going to start with Robert. I'm not starting off with you for this one. We got all our Hawthorne fans in this chat right now and is watching right now. Hunter, give me your take between 1 versus 13 Hawthorne and Williston. Give me your reason why both schools can win, and who's your prediction between Hawthorne and Williston? Robert, don't even say nothing.
Okay, well, let's see. Obviously, when you look at Hawthorne, they've proven it like all year with their when the teams they play, they've proven it. They've made this far. You're coming off obviously being 2-time defending champions. If it was 2-time defending, right? I didn't miss one.
Yes, they went back. They've been to 5 straight state championship games and won the last 2. That's
all right.
impressive.
So back to back,
They go to 5 straight. Still impressive.
that is impressive. And the fact you're talking about team, of course, like defending 2-time champions and 5 straight title appearances. They definitely have proven that they can hang with anybody in 1R. When you look at Williston, they've proven it also. They've proven that they can win these games, and they've been on the road for the they've been on the road every round, and their defense has stepped up when they've needed to. This is a tough matchup. Like when I look at this matchup, it's tough to just really to be able to say convincingly either way. But it's like that. It's hard when you're talking about a team that has won back-to-back state titles, and it's hard to go against that. I got to take Hawthorne in a close one.
What is your score between Hawthorne and Williston? What is your score between Hawthorne and Williston? Hunter?
I'd say Hawthorne by probably maybe like a 17-14 type score.
So an old-fashioned slug-out defensive battle down there in the anime field on Friday night. Okay. Robert, what does your Red Devils have to do to finally take down the 2-time state champions on Friday night at anime field against the Hawthorne Hornets? The floor is yours.
So let's talk what all of Williston was talking preseason, right? Number one, whole lot of roster turnover. We knew coming into the season that we were going to have to find a team that was going to be able to compete. And they went through a little bit of growing pains with a couple of tough matchups. But that's the thing about going 10-0 the past 2 regular seasons is that you don't get some of those matchups that want to call your athletic director back after you've gone 10-0 for 2 straight seasons. They don't want to be somebody else's punching bag, right? And in this case, we had to do it with the roster turnover that we had, and we also knew coming into the season that our previous 2 seasons' weaknesses have been our defense, specifically against the spread, because we got bounced from the playoffs by Trey Brown, right? Who's now playing for Jones and is committed to UF. And we got bounced last year by Hawthorne and the CJ Ingram led spread attack. And I'll tell you right now, like while Hawthorne has a good squad, they downgraded at QB, but only by a slight bit because CJ is a great basketball player and everything, and so that's why he's chosen that as his future. But the defense that Williston has put on the field this year is light years better, and it has been tested by spread attacks almost every single week, right? Because even the teams that wanted to run the ball, a lot of times were running it out of the spread, and whether they were running it out of uh, trips formation or somebody trying to get a wing out there or get ahead of it. And some teams like Chiefland in the playoffs even tried to give Williston a taste of their own medicine and run some wing T back against them. But every single team on Williston's schedule was held to less offensively than what they did all season with the Williston defense. And so the Williston defense is what's going to make the difference in this one. So we're going to flip Hunter's score instead of Hawthorne 17 because Williston also has an award-winning kicker. So we're going to say that Williston kicks the field goal late with that defense, keeps Hawthorne to 14 points, and makes it to their first state title game since Jimmy Ray Stevens, and takes on the winner of Madison County and Union County.
Any comments on that one?
Like I said, it really is a game that could go either way, so I would not be shocked. I feel confident with this being a low-scoring game either way.
Well, and now we advance to the other side. The 3-seeded Union County Tigers traveling to Boot Hill to take over the 2-seeded Madison County Cowboys. Hunter, the floor is back to you. Give us your take on that matchup and give us your winner and score. I'm not saying nothing. It's all you, Hunter.
All right. Well, I will say this as someone that has gotten a chance to see Madison play this year, and I think I kind of addressed this when we were talking about this potential matchup a week ago because we kind of felt that this was going to be the state semifinal matchup on that side of the bracket. Madison runs the ball really well. And when we looked at Union and how they did defensively, I look at that last game of the regular season, the Chiefland game. When I look at that matchup, when I looked at what stat-wise from that game, I feel like if Chiefland was able to get as much offensively on Union County, Madison's going to be able to do the same thing. And that's kind of where I would say for Union, their key to the game, they probably need to force turnovers because I think if Madison doesn't turn the ball over, I don't think Union has a shot in this game. Union's going to have to find a way to manufacture additional possessions. They're going to have to find ways to keep the ball out of Madison's hands and find ways to get points on the board. Ideally with long drives that will wear Madison's defense out. But ideally, this is at Boot Hill. I got to lean Madison and probably like a 24-17 type game.
All right. After doing my homework, and I agree with you, Hunter, this game can go either way. Boot Hill is probably outside of Hawthorne, the hardest place to play in rural football because they have lost so little games in their school history in playoff football. Like right now, I'm looking at last year's game that we lost at Boot Hill on Max Preps, and it sickens me to my stomach watching this game because this is a game that we was up the entire game, even to the fourth. We blew it this year. I'm reading over some stats from last week's win against Bluntstown for the I call them the Cowgirls. I don't really like Madison. I'm a big advocate. I hate a strong word. I'll root for Hawthorne if I root for Madison. That's how much I despise Madison.
That's saying a lot, man. That's saying a lot.
And that's a lot. And that's a big pill to swallow. But I do not like the Madison Cowboys. I've been saying they should not be 1-8. I understand they're a big school, but those players are there, blah, blah, blah. I heard all that. But I don't like Madison at all. And for the fact that they're like the Alabama of rural football. I understand Hawthorne went on the state championships. They're like Georgia. But Madison has been doing this even before Hawthorne became the 5-time state championship appearance team they are. Madison been doing this for eons. Madison been doing this for well over 20 years. So no doubt to Hawthorne. No doubt to what they've done for the last 6-7 years. That's great. But to do what Madison been doing for over 20, 25 years as a program on the football field has been nothing but domination. Whatever classification they've been in, they have been the standard. Since they've been in 1R football, they have been in almost every state championship game in rural football outside of Madison, outside of Hawthorne. They missed 1 year, and that was after their coach stepped down, and that was the year Hawthorne beat Northview. I take it back twice. They Hawthorne played Baker, and then Hawthorne played Northview. So those are 2 times that I can remember that Madison missed a state championship game. But other than that, Madison's been in almost every state championship game in rural football since the inception of rural football. Even back in 1A, they was in every state championship game for rural football. So Madison is the standard for us because Madison is a team that we have not beaten too often. I think Hawthorne and Madison, the main 2 schools we have not beaten too often. We beat everybody else more often than not. But those 2 schools are the schools that we have not really conquered about. The last time we played Hawthorne, we kept it close for most of the night, but then they carried away later on in the game. They dominated the second half of football. Last time we beat Madison, we dominated the whole game. We was up late in the 4th, but we choked, and we lost by possession. So we know what it takes to play those guys and keep up with those guys. But do we have enough to finally knock one of those guys off? And I feel like this is the year that our guys are very hungry. I was listening to Coach Thomas talk during Tiger Talk. I was very impressed how because I'm not gonna lie. The way the Pahokee game was a lot closer than it should have been. Pahokee's a very fast team, and we didn't capitalize on a couple of drives against Pahokee last Friday. And it could have been, we should have won by 30. But the fact that we didn't capitalize on our drive kind of scares me. But that's the problem we had against last year against Madison. When we went to Boot Hill and we was up 10-0 for most of the game until we didn't capitalize late in the game when it mattered most, and we kept it close. When you keep it close to a team like that, they're eventually going to find a way to come back and win. That's what champions do. Okay, y'all agree, right? That's what champions do. When you're a team that is backs against the wall and their defense keeping it close enough for you to come back, that's what champions, they overcome adversity. So what we have to do is this year, to finally shut the naysayers about Union County football, can we do enough to finally overcome adversity for 4 quarters? Now I'm talking about 3.5 quarters, not 2 quarters, not a half, not a quarter, but all 4 quarters, because it's hard to go to Boot Hill to win. It is the most hardest place to win a game in, outside of NBA Stadium in Hawthorne. Those 2 places are the hardest place to win football games at. But I feel like this is the team of destiny. I've been saying this for longest. Even after the Chief loss, that Chief loss woke us up. Because now we're playing the best football, both sides of the ball, that we had all season. We've been having this Madison game circle our calendar all year. Because I knew eventually we had to face Madison sometime in the playoff. Madison had held Bluntstown to 78 yards total offense last week. They averaged 301 on the year for Madison football rushing, and they were 304 last week. They have a 4-man attack that Madison has. I'm going to read off some stats from last week against the Tigers. Their quarterback was a leading rusher, so they run heavy with the quarterback in the quarterback running game for Madison. Our defense got to cut the play because 4 players was going to touch that football against the Tigers on Friday night. We're going to find a way to slow that run game. They average 300 yards a game. 301, almost 302 yards per game. They're averaging 8 yards a carry. And they play some pretty big schools. Y'all might give me a floor for a little bit. I want to express how important this game is against Union County. I'm not saying we're going to lose, but I respect what Madison done this year. I'm going to read you step by step their rushing numbers against these bigger schools they face this year, okay? Let's look at the DeLand game. They won by 14 back in August 23rd when they played at DeLand. Okay, here's what they put up against the DeLand Bulldogs. They ran for 429 against DeLand, and they won by 14. Okay, they did get 154 on the ground, but that's a bigger school, like I said. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next game. So they have 429 against a bigger DeLand school. Let's go to week 2. When they played Lincoln, they lost by 22. Now this is the same Lincoln team that we predicted that could make a run to the state championship Final Four. Okay, so here we go. Our computer's acting real stupid. Gotta get really stupid. I hate these pop-up blockers on Max Preps. So stupid. Y'all bear with me. I'm so sorry. But all I'm saying is Madison's been doing this all year against these bigger schools. Like Honey said, I have no doubt that Madison is a very powerful opponent. No doubt. We expect this coming this matchup. Against Lincoln, they ran for 200 against what? Lincoln, what, a 5A school, Hunter?
Yeah.
So against Lincoln, let me see. Make sure I was correct. They ran for 200 against Lincoln. Okay. Then we're going to go to Swanee. I think Swanee's what, a 3A school, correct?
Yeah, they're 3A.
Okay, so against Swanee, their rivals, they won by 17. They ran for 470. I don't think they even threw a pass against Swanee. They held them to 47 yards rushing. Okay, against Columbia, another rival, they won by 5 down there in Lake City. This is how important this is for us to. Okay, against Columbia, they ran for 283. They did get 136 on the ground. So they are vulnerable sometimes with defense. I'm just looking at how well they ran the football. They averaged 300 yards a game against these big schools. Let's look at another school. Oh, Pensacola Pace. The Pensacola Pace team that almost beat Buchholz last Friday. They lost by 4. Let's look at that one. And then I'm going to look at a pop here for the high, and I'm going to end my statement. We got to play clean football, perfect football. I mean perfect. When you play a team like this, you can't give no chance at all. Against Pace, they ran for 345. Their quarterback ran for 77. They running ran for 131 against a 5A defense. Okay. I'm not for my Union County fans. I'm not saying we're going to lose. I'm just giving credit where credit's due. Madison is a very elite football team. Nothing against them at all. I'm just real recognizing real. Against Apopka, who's like a 5A or 6A school. If I'm mistaken, they ran for 200 yards. But
7A.
They're not what it is. What Apopka is.
Hunter said he thinks they're 7A.
Popka, they are 7A because they got they have like 3,500 kids there.
Yeah, I knew it was 6A or 7. I knew it was 1 or 2. But they ran for 200, but they gave up 200. Well, what I'm saying is in entirety. I made my prediction right now. If Union County plays clean football, we should win this game 20-17. But what I'm telling you is this. I'm only nervous because if our players could play sound, disciplined football, because you go into an environment that we haven't won at since Coach Thomas has been coached, since Coach Pruitt ain't been coaching, since Coach Zal ain't coached. Pretty much no Union County coaches went to Boot Hill and beat Madison County in a long time. Okay? I'm going to pick Union County 20-17. But I really feel like Madison's the better team. I'm leaving it at that. I feel like we're going to win, but Madison's the better team. Simple as that. And I know we hear a lot of backlash from Union County fans. I'm just keeping it real. We're a great team. And I want the Tigers to win. I really do. That's why I said the Tigers are going to win. But Madison's been a more battle-tested team this year. So I got Tigers winning 20-17. I'm not preaching. Stop saying that, Tony. Said, man, that's how you do a scripted sermon. Not preaching at all. I'm just reading stats. I'm a stats guy. I like letting people know who I got. So I got Tigers winning 2017, but Madison the better team going to this matchup. So
I think you're being as honest and straightforward as possible there. If anything, I'm wondering how many people can come on this show and start booing me the minute they see me.
I'll be honest with you, man. It killed me to say that. But I have to recognize real that those guys are very good. They have been outside of Hawthorne, been the upper echelon of excellence in rural football since the inception of rural football. We have been a little, you know who I compare Hawthorne and Madison to? We ain't gonna win right there. Don't get me wrong, I want us to win, but you gotta get Madison the credit. Hawthorne is Ohio State. Madison is like Michigan. And we're like Penn State. We're the little brothers of those two schools. When it comes, and be honest with you, Williston is like Iowa. We're right there competing with the big schools in the Big Ten, but we don't have enough to get over the hump. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? No, you get what I'm saying, Robert?
I got it. Well,
So
no, I like the comparison. It's a pretty accurate comparison in terms of defense and special teams right now for Williston. And I'll just go off to say, like, I love you feeling like you're a team of destiny and everything to beat Madison County, because then if you're a team of destiny to beat Madison County, then aren't you a team of destiny to let Williston win their first state title with Coach Pruitt against Union County?
We that destiny, though. Hey, listen,
Come on, man.
We have not played the state championship game since I was in elementary school. What? Yeah, 03. I was in elementary school last time I played the state championship game. No, 05. Either 03 it was 03, 05. One, two. I was still in elementary school. Okay? I wanted to win the state championship so bad. Bro, have you not seen what we've been through the last 6 years? We've been through this whole discussion already, Robert. We have been either in the third round or further the last 6 years. And we keep losing. Let's go down the history books now. Well, we lost to Madison County 1 year in the third round. We lost to Northview in the fourth round. We lost to Chief in the third round. We lost to Madison in the fourth round. We've been in the fourth round 2 straight years now. We've been in the third round later 5 straight years. Okay, we are hungry for a state title appearance. Okay, we are like Penn State in Big Ten football. We have a great regular season team, but we always find a way to lose to one school that keeps us out of the big dance. That's us. Union County football is right there for a trip to a state championship. They're right there. They have to overcome the 2 big dogs in rural football. What are we playing this Friday night? Okay.
That's okay. You can go through us next week too, then. Except
you did
not.
the boys. You did the Burger Bar boys first in Anime Field Stadium while we take care of the Boot Bar boys. I'm gonna say this right now. I love underdog story. I love it because you look what the Trent Tigers doing over there on the other side of the bracket. Nobody in right mind thought Trent going in with 3 wins gonna make the run they made this so far. I was only one of a few people in the state that believe these guys. Okay, and I'm not even a Trenton fan. But I love a good underdog story because a lot of people doubt people in the world. A lot of people doubt that Trent's not gonna get past who they faced in the first round. Let me go look at my books. Who they faced in the first round? Trent wasn't supposed to get past Sneeds. Nobody thought he would get past Sneeds, but he did. Nobody thought he was supposed to get past Baker, but they did. What I'm saying is I love a good underdog story. I love it. Like, nobody thought beginning of the year Newberry's going to get to Coco. Nobody. You look at the beginning of the year, nobody thought New was going to be Bradford this year. Not once, but twice. Nobody thought New going to get to this state part of the playoffs, but they did. Hunter, did you believe that going to this year that the New Band Panthers going to beat Stark twice and be on the running face of Coco in the state regional championship beginning of the year? Did you believe that?
No, I did. I did say that after they played the first time, I did, but not beforehand. No.
You guys won a state championships pool now. When? Please let me know what year. What years you guys not been to state championship game since 05? What year?
Listen, they played.
No,
They played Glade Central that year, didn't they?
no, they played Pahokee. No,
Okay.
no, UConn has not won state championship pro left. I was in 8th grade in 05 when we played the Swamp when UConn lost 21-6 to Pahokee in the state championship game against the Pahokee Blue Devils. Antoine Smith, who played for Florida State, was a running back that year. And his brother that played at Wake Forest was a quarterback on that team that year. You remember the Smith boys that played for Florida State and Wake Forest back in the mid-2000s? They both came up Pahokee. One was a quarterback, one was a running back. Antoine Smith played running back, and the safety, the other Smith brother, he was a quarterback. And we lost. And Senior Spindle us last year before he went to Clemson. We lost 21-6 in the Swamp. So we haven't been there, but we've been real close the last 5 years. Real close. Real close. And I think this is the team of destiny. I think the Tigers gonna get back to the state championship game and win it. I think this is the year we win it. Listen, we are going to call Boot Hill Tiger Hill. That's how much I want us to win. We're gonna rename that place called Tiger Hill. We're gonna conquer Mount Everest this Friday. 0304. Okay, appreciate you, Rondé. It was 0304. I thought it was 05. So it been 21 years. I'm 33 years old. My birthday was yesterday. I'm 33 years old. I was 12 years old the last time we've been to a state championship game, okay? 12 years old. I want to see one state championship title come back league, but that's all I want to see. The three things I want to see in life and sports. The Jaguars win the Super Bowl. The UConn Tigers win the state championship in football again. And that's it. All other teams won championships. Those are the two teams that ain't seen win a championship in a long time. So I just want us to get back to state championship caliber football. I wanted to see.
Oh, I know what that feels like.
Listen, the last 5 years, Robert, I have been stressed seeing the Tigers come short. When I take the fan to eat a pregame meal at Hawthorne or Diane's barbecue, everybody gonna say Burger Barn.
Well, no, I was about to tell you because I threw that poll out there because you were mentioning Burger Bar, and I'm like trying to figure out where to take the kids pregame, right? But
I'm not a Hawthorne fan, but every Hawthorne fan I follow on Facebook, they call the boys the Burger Bar boys. Okay, and I never had Burger Bar myself. I never had Burger Bar. My wife probably had Burger Bar before, but I never ever had Burger Bar in my entire life. But I heard some good burgers. I've been wanting to try Burger Bar for a couple of years now. So the next time I come to Hawthorne, I want to try Burger Bar. I'll let y'all know on live stream how was it. I'm not gonna lie.
now, hey, in terms of wanting to get that state championship back, I'm an old man, so like I got to quote grumpy old men, right? And you could want in one hand, and you can take a dump in the other, and see which one gets filled first, right? Because Williston's coming for it. Williston's coming for it. Let's go.
If Union County and Hawthorne, or Union County and Williston played for the state championship game, John for win number 200, right, against his old employer, correct?
I think so. I'd have to check and everything because he was 7 wins away earlier this season. So we got to look and see.
Now, with all that being said, we're gonna have to the end of the show. We're doing the first ever high school football final awards show. So here's how we're going to do it, guys. Should we have the fans nominate their players themselves, or we're going to come up with nominees ourselves? Because that'll make it interesting. What y'all think?
My feeling is that we should, at the end of the day, like I was kind of saying before we started, like I feel like we should have like a fan we can obviously fans should nominate, and we could even have like a fan vote winners, but I think we should all have our own picks individually too.
Well,
yep.
So let's do this. Let's go ahead and read off the award for each category, and what have one of my commenters said fans should have an input on who should be nominated. Now, what do y'all think about having a fan vote or having us decide on who deserves to be nominated? Should we have like equalization of both?
That's
I
what I'm
like it.
saying. Is like
Well,
we
in
have the
fact,
fan nominate and vote, and that'll be the fan side, and then we'll have our own. Now, obviously, we could pick the same choice as the fans do, also. So we could end up theoretically having us three and the fans all pick the same person or team for the nominees. But I think it should still like we have like the fan side, which would nominate and vote, and then we would have our own.
Okay, so here's
I even
how
like the idea of having it rural and local, right? Like have a rural winner and have a local winner, right?
I
Because
like that
like
idea too.
I do
you
too.
know, because looking at Buchholz compared to Union is a little little different, right? Because Buchholz is going to have a different quality team like Vanguard. I mean, because Vanguard would be a good team of the year local candidate, right?
Right.
But at the same time, would you want to say something different about the rural teams and everything too? So I like the
Right.
idea of splitting it up because the FHSA like the idea of splitting it up.
So, Robert, you got the award category. Let's go ahead and read off these categories to our viewers tonight for our first ever high school football final awards for rural and North Central Florida. So, our first award category is what, Robert?
Team of the year, right? So
So,
just your overall number one team of the year. So if we do a rural and a local, we'd want a nominee for that.
okay, so I actually got a couple nominees for that category. I'm glad I went that one first. So,
All right.
for non-rural, here's about 5 schools. Okay, I did this. I thought about this the other day. My first nominee is Ocala Vanguard. That's my first nominee. Ocala Vanguard Knights.
I
That's my
like that.
first nominee. My second nominee will be the Buchholz Bobcats.
Okay.
My third school, let me go back to my notes because I hadn't written my notes. My third nominee is going to be the Newberry Panthers.
Okay.
My fourth nominee, the Gaston County Jaguars. And then my fifth nominee will be, and we're saying locally, when I do it outrageous, to the Manila Tigers. Those are my 5.
Okay.
How do y'all feel about
I
those
like
5
it
schools?
because my top three outside of rural were uh Ocala Vanguard, Buchholz, and Dunellen. So I got 3 of your 5, so we're good.
Hunter, what are your thoughts on those 5 schools?
The only thing I would say is like I think Gadsden's definitely a good option to choose, but I also like I guess if we're including Gadsden in that area, like wouldn't we basically also because Tallahassee's closer, Madison's closer, like are we including like all the way out that far? Like and on the east side, are we including Jacksonville teams?
We can. I don't think we should go no further south than Daytona, and I don't think we should go no further north than South Georgia. So meaning anything from Tallahassee within to Ocala within, or Marion County within is on limit. So Jacksonville schools can count. Can we do play some local teams do play Jacksonville schools?
Okay.
So like for example, like Buell's do play schools out of St. Johns County. So the only reason I count these schools in because these schools locally, like Gainesville schools, will travel to take schools in St. Johns or Duval County. That's the only reason I'm choosing them. If they wasn't playing them, I wouldn't be considering them at all. Okay? Fair enough?
Well, heck, the links that
Yeah,
Hawthorne and
like
Williston have had to travel to this year.
Yeah, like for example, you gotta go play Yulee this year. Hawthorne had to go play for IMG this year. Madison had to go play the Land this year. So, and then you play Parker. So we're gonna put schools that some of these local teams had to fit out. We're not gonna automatically put Cocoa in there because unfortunately Newberry plays Cocoa. But we're talking about schools like from Buchholz or GHS or Lake Butler or Madison that played throughout the regular season. Like, for example, Williston played Newberry, and Newberry is not rural no more. Newberry is 2A. So that's a nominee. Or Okay, I'm not picking them. I'm just saying Union County played Trinity Catholic this year. They're not definitely not being nominated, but they're a 1A. You know what I'm saying? So any school that plays a school locally that's like within our radius of what we cover, they'll get nominated. Like, for example, Rays will be a nominee because Rays is in Jacksonville. Or we'll do Newberry, or do Gaston County, or do, you know what I'm saying, Madison County. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing out names, but those 5 schools are great nominees for the non-rural team of the year. What y'all think?
My 3
I would say
nominees were
like
in that
additional
list,
teams
so
I
I
would
like.
think about adding in that consideration. Like I would say
What?
Nice should be considered, Lincoln should be considered.
And that's the thing, though, because you got Nice, you do got Lincoln. Are we doing top 5? We're doing top 3.
I think we could let the fans narrow it down to the top 3, right?
All right, fans. So listen, if you're watching right now, should we do top 3 of each category or do top 5? Because I'll determine how we do this. Because right now, a lot of these categories, like for example, what's the next category we got right now, Robert?
Next one up is Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year. So we got a lot of coaches, not only for rural, but also for non-rural schools too. So maybe top 5 is good. I think top 5 is good. Because, you know, we got most national awards now, even national or even statewide, they do have 5 nominees. At least 5. Because you look at, like, for example, the Gainesville Sun Player of the Year, they always have 5 nominees.
Okay.
Or the Dairyland Mr. Florida Player of the Year, they have 5 nominees. But I mean, it's whatever
Honestly,
y'all
I
want
don't
to
think
do.
we have to really like finalize that to not like we don't have to finalize that tonight.
No,
Like
no, no.
obviously we can start getting nominees in.
Yeah, of course. So now we're just talking about nominees for these awards. Of course, you got Coach Pruitt from Williston, Coach Ed Johnson from Newberry. You can throw Coach Cornelius
Ingram.
Ingram this year, Coach Andrew Thomas, Coach Adam Gore from Chiefland. Got a bunch of nominees you can put in for those categories. Hey, even his first year back, you got Coach Whittemore down there, Buchholz, getting the Buchholz Bobcats back to the state regional final for his first time in 2 years. So, I mean, you got a bunch of people you can nominate. What's next after Coach of the Year? It's what?
Then we have the Player of the Year.
So now we
And
got
that's
Rural
definitely
Player of the
one I
Year.
think we need, a rural and a local.
So we got Rural Player of the Year and Rural. Are we doing Rural Offensive Player of the Year and Rural Defensive Player of the Year, or just Rural Overall Player of the Year?
You know, we only put Player of the Year, but I like having it by offense and defense, especially since Williston might have a Defensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL. Let's go.
Oh yeah, Quinton Mitchell. Hey, that's a man.
Yes,
That's a man.
sir.
That's a man right there over in Philly. So let's do that. Let's write down Rural
Yep, let's
and
change it up.
non-rural offensive player of the year and DPOY.
Okay.
What's the next category?
After that, it's the high school offense of the year and then the high school defense of the year. So we had we had one for player, but it had 2 for team units. So yeah, let's definitely go offense of the year and defense of the year, and then player of the year for both.
Okay, and then you have what? What's after that?
After that, then it was just comeback team of the year.
All right. So listen, there's some awards I want to talk about tonight that I personally done this year. That's not going to affect what we're doing. Okay. I have a couple categories I came up with for our pre-award show. They're going to do a real award show the state championship weekend for Rule, which will be next week. So we got a week to come up with these nominees, guys. Actually, a couple days, because we got to start posting these nominees on the page next week. Because the state championship Rule is next Friday, correct?
Believe so.
So we got a couple
Check.
days. So if you want to nominate somebody, please inbox Williston Sports Station, Hunter Williams, or myself, or my business page, Jackson Sports Media, with your nominees, and we'll come up with a list and have it ready for Monday's show. Correct, guys? For our nominee show.
Yeah, we can try to get one together for Monday.
So we'll have our breakdown, the state semis, preview the state championship, and then have our nominee show for this upcoming Friday, upcoming Monday. So I have some nominees, and I want to talk to you guys specifically. My first award is Most Disappointing School Award. So who was most disappointing to you this year, guys? I'm gonna give you your pick. Give me your opinions, and I'm gonna read out my nominees. So Hunter, who's your most disappointing team in North Central Florida in your opinion this year?
I'm trying to figure that. I'm trying to figure that out. To be honest, I'm trying to see. Because obviously, before the playoffs, I would have probably had a few different nominees on this one. And I think there are a couple teams that I would have seen as disappointing, and then they actually made a decent playoff run. So it's kind of hard to call them disappointing. I'm trying to see who would be.
Well, can we include Sumter County in our area?
Yes, you can't put Sumter County in.
Okay, well there goes my answer.
So
Poor guys.
you say South Sumter and Gerald, they're your nominee for most disappointing.
That's what I would say, but I also think they got a little bit of a rough deal not getting selected for the playoff bracket either, because I think they could have gone far in the playoffs.
I would say Trinity Catholic might be my choice, to be honest.
Okay. Anybody else?
You got South Sumter and Ocala Trinity. So
All right.
who do you got?
So here's my nominees for most disappointing. My first nominee is the Oak Hall Eagles. Oak Hall is my first nominee. Ocala Trinity Cat was on my nominee list. Bradford is on my list. I'm going to explain why I chose the Tornadoes in a few minutes. Fort White, GHS, South Sumter, and PK Young. Now, why did I choose Bradford? Because the Bradford team from last year was dominant. I think Bradford took a step back due to players going to college, stuff like that, but Bradford was still loaded for a prime, possible run for a state championship. We all agree at the beginning of the year. Bradford was still in the running for a possible shot at Cocoa again down the line. But Bradford, throughout the season, looked kind of vulnerable. They survived a scare. I mean, you got to say he beat the Denali by 2 touchdowns, but the Denali was a good team this year, a very good team. If the Denali had to face Bishop Moore in the second round, the Denali would have probably had an easy way to the state Final Four, in my opinion. But we never know. But Bradford at times looked very vulnerable at times this year, and then it all came ahead against Newberry. Newberry just came for rule and is now running you out of your own classification. I have to say this is a disappointing year for Bradford this year compared to what he was at last year. PK Young had a hot start. I think they started to see 4-2, and now they're forfeiting playoff games. Like, what was up with that? PK Young had a hot start this year. And then we find out before the playoffs start, they forfeited playoff games. That's disappointing. South Sumter, come on, the Bushnell boys. They just don't let their record fool you. They was a very tough team this year. Unfortunately, they made the playoffs. But we know South Sumter don't forget 8 to 9 wins a year. For them to have, 4 or 5 wins this year? I think, is that correct, Hunter? They're like under 500, correct?
Yeah.
I think it was like 4-6, 5-6, something like that. To beat a losing record for a team that's known for having 8 to 10 wins a season, that's disappointing. GHS. Remember GHS at the beginning of the year saw 4-0. Then he lost 4 straight games. And now they missed the playoffs. So that's disappointing. And then those are my top 6 schools. And then Fort White full white known for getting 8 to 9 wins a year, at least a minimum of 7. But to have be at a point in the mid-season to have a losing record on the verge of missing the playoffs, it wasn't for them winning out the last 2 games of the regular season, they would have been whole chilling in the losers bracket. So that's disappointing to me. So those are my top 6 local schools that are disappointed this year. I know Hunter got some words to say about it because I see your face expressions. Hunter, what you got to say?
Actually, I was gonna that team that I was talking about earlier about the fact that their playoff run kind of took them off the list for me was 4 white.
Right.
But also they had a lot of injuries. I kind of understood why they were struggling. But when we started, when you brought up Bradford, that made me immediately think of another team that I know we don't talk about Jacksonville teams a lot on this show, but Mandarin. Their quarterback went down. Obviously, that had an impact, but they at the beginning of the season they were being talked about as a potential favorite in 6A, and it ended with a first round exit. That seems like a potentially one of the more disappointing second halves for any team this year because they kind of caved down the stretch. Yeah.
Oh, you got disconnected? Oh, there we go. Something happened. Well,
Well, does that did
you're
that add any teams that you would consider like after hearing about Bradford being like a considered a disappointing team?
well. It actually makes me kind of agree with Keisha in the chat, where Keisha had said Chiefland, and I wouldn't have considered Chiefland before that, but I think now I would.
There's definitely like it's kind of hard because like you can really make the with something like disappointing team, you can really make the case like people could say that Columbia is a disappointing team, but the thing that I look at with Columbia is like every team that beat them were better teams. Coffee County, Madison, Trinity, Bowles, and twice to St. Augustine. Like they didn't really lose any games they were supposed to lose. Like all the games I'll rephrase like they won every game they were supposed to. They lost every team they played that was above them. I don't like when I look at disappointing. I think about teams that underachieved with their expectations. When you look at that schedule and you look at where these teams finished, every one of those teams were better. So I don't know if I really call it disappointing when you're losing to teams that were above you from the start.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, that was the last one we had to go through anyway. So I'd say let's go ahead and call it a night with covering everything. I know we've talked football for quite a bit here with everybody, and we appreciate everybody for joining in. So we'll post some polls tomorrow on North Central Florida prep football to try to get some of these nominees in, get some input with the fans, and I hope everybody comes and sees me Friday at Hawthorne. You can come up and say hey. I'll hopefully I've made the decision on a pregame dinner, whether or not I'm heading to the Burger Barn or if I'm stopping in Gainesville on the way through. You know, but anyway, make sure to come by, shake my hand, see me. Love to meet everybody who's watching the show. And Hunter, are you going to be there? Or are you going to try to make the way to Hawthorne?
Uh, Unfortunately, no. But good luck
That's
to
all
that one.
right.
That should be a good game.
Yeah, I told Charles like if he's coming, come on. But we won't be able to stream from Hawthorne on Friday night. NFHS has preempted the rights, so we're gonna do some highlights from the side. We're gonna try to do some interviews, and we're gonna see what we can do about it. But appreciate everybody. Guys, make sure to go follow Hunter on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of the stuff that he's got. We appreciate you joining in with us tonight, and we'll see you on next week. All right.
All right.
All right. Appreciate you, everybody.